compare the triplets itself. Okay, so here what I will do is I'll just, Now Alice and Bob, each a little bit smaller, let it not cover the entire screen. Yeah. Alice and Bob each created one problem for HackerRank. Why am I reading it? You read it first. You read it. Then I will come back. Okay. Alright. So I hope everybody had some time to take a look at the question. Tell me, friend, did you understand the question? Yes or no? Please put a yes if you understood the question. Okay, few say no, few say yes. Okay, it's an equal balance. Okay, it's an equal balance. All right. Now, see, let me go and explain the problem to you. But before that, yeah. See, now the thing is, before I start with the problem, I would just like to take 2 minutes and explain to you a concept in Java. Okay, the name of this concept is called as array list, because we will have to make use of this concept. Okay, so basically what I want to do is I want to store, let us assume, a series of values, one next to the other I want to store. For example, I want to store 10, I want to store 20, I want to store 30, I want to store 40. I want to store it like this. But I want to store it in such a container which allows me to dynamically add elements, to dynamically delete elements from it. Which means, right, I don't know how many elements I am going to add. I may add 4 elements, I may add 400 elements, I may delete 100 elements, I may add another 200 elements. In other words, automatically this container should be able to grow and should be able to shrink. Technically, when you store data one next to the other like this, we call it as an array. But the problem with an array is, arrays are fixed in size. Which means while creating itself, I must tell an array that, hey array, I am going to store 4 values. I can't store one more, I can't store one less. I hope you're able to think. Hence, in Java, we have a beautiful concept called as collections. In fact, anybody who aims to get an entry-level development job must and should master collections in Java. Of course, collections are available in Python also. Of course, it is available in C++ also. It is called as the standard tag library or STL. Collections are there in almost every programming language. In Java also you have collections, and in Java such a data structure which can automatically grow and shrink in size is called as an array list. Is called as what? An array list. So see, like this is called These are those index values. Now, how will you create this array list? Let me bring up the editor also, just for our reference. Now, in Java, whenever you want to create an array list, you must make use of a keyword called as new. Now, I am not going to go in depth teach you what is all this new, etc. because unfortunately, this workshop is not to teach you Java. It is to build logic thinking for you. So obviously, in certain level of abstraction I am going to speak, please forgive me for that, okay. So new you have to tell. After that you must tell what you want to create, because you can create an array list, you can create a linked list, you can create a priority queue, you can create a hash set, you can create a linked hash set, you can create a hash map, you can create a linked hash map, you can create a vector, you can create an enumeration. The list goes on and on and on, because those are all the different kinds of collections we have. But I want to create an array list, and hence I am going to tell Java, please create an array list for me like this. That's what I am also typing. And compulsorily you must put these brackets. Now, if you do this, initially what is going to happen is Java is now going to automatically create one array list like this. It is automatically going to create an array list. Initially this array list is going to be empty, friends. Initially this array list is going to be empty. Okay. Now I want to give it a reference. I want to call it as AR or something like this, because I want to give it a name, otherwise how will I access? So see, what I will do is like this. I will tell, please give this, assign this a name. Technically we call it as a reference. I will call it as AL, and AL has to be of type array list like this. We're able to think. So if you do this, now this is only AL. Are we able to think? Now you can add values into the array list. How will you add? Very simple. To add, you must make use of this AL. So see, like this I will tell, AL means that array list. I want to go inside it, so dot. And what I want to go inside and do is add an element. So I will tell add. What should I add? I want to add a value 10. Like this. Are you able to think? If you do this, 10 gets added. This is the 0th element. Now, it's a dynamic array. It can grow in size, it can shrink in size, which means if I want to add another element, all I will tell is to my array list, please add 20. Are you able to think? If I do this, automatically size will grow and you will now be adding 20. This is the first position. Like that, it can automatically grow like this, and certainly I am going to be adding 30 to it. I am going to be adding 40 to it. You can notice. Any confusion till this point of time? Great. So now that you guys have this, let me just erase this part for you. So yeah. So as you can see, this is taken care of. Okay. Now that is your array list. That is your array list. And now basically you want to print everything inside that. All I will do is I will tell system.out.println and I will tell AL like that. So system.out.println AL. That's it. Everything inside that array list, it will print for you. How are you able to think? Really will this happen? Let us execute it and check it out. Okay. So if in case I take you to my execution window, and if in case I put in the relevant command, no issues. If I execute, it is, yeah, that is fine. I just execute it. That's just a warning. 10, 20, 30, 40. Any confusion till this point of time? Awesome. So it works. It works perfectly. Right? And see, it stored it in the same way I showed you. Now, this is the structure which I am going to use to store my data. This is what I am going to use to store my data. Any confusion till this point of time? I hope everybody understood. Did everybody understand the simple array list concept? Put one yes in the chat. I wish I could go into the depth and explain why this new keyword, what is array list, why are we calling its constructor, what is being returned, why are we collecting it in AL. But again, then I'll have to teach the language and not the logic. Today's class is about logic and not the language. How are you able to think? If this was Python, we would have used something called as a list. Python users would know about it. List is there. How are you able to think? Anyways, let's, yeah, sorry. What? Okay. Now the thing is, if in case, you want to access elements one by one from this, how you can access it is very easy. Let us assume I want to access this element. All I will do is I will tell AL. Dot means go inside. And I will tell, please get me an element. Get you which element? 0th element, first element, second element, third element. I want the 0th element like this, as you can see, and I'll just directly print it. Similarly, I'll just duplicate this line and I will tell 3. I want that 3 means the fourth element, 0, 1, 2, 3, like this. Will this work? 100%. So watch it. If in case I just go and I put in the relevant command, no issues. If I execute, then 10 and 40. 0, get 3. Any confusion? So you understood how to insert elements, you understood how to get elements. Now this is all I want you to know for me to proceed. So let's proceed. Okay, great. So now what I am going to basically be doing is, I am now going to start my program. So let's go read what is our expectation. Okay, so if in case I take you to the program is very simple. It's now telling that, hey, listen, Alice and Bob each created one problem for HackerRank. A reviewer is rating the two challenges, awarding points on a scale from 1 to 100 for 3 categories: problem clarity, originality, and difficulty. Clarity, originality, difficulty. These 3 categories, they are going to judge the problem, the question they created for HackerRank. The ratings for Alice's challenge is the triplet. Triplet means combination of 3 values. Okay, A of 0, A of 1, A of 2. The rating for Bob's challenge is a triplet, B of 0, B of 1, B of 2, which means, think about this. This is a list in which 3 values are there. This is another list in which 3 values are there. The first value of the first list and the first value of the second list is the points awarded for clarity. The second values is the point awarded for originality, and the third value is for difficulty. Any confusion? Awesome. Now what they're telling is, the task is to find their comparison points by comparing A of 0 with B of 0. Compare the points of clarity, compare both their points of originality, compare both their points of difficulty. That's what they're saying. If Alice's point is greater in any category, if Alice's point is greater than Bob's point, then give Alice 1 point. If Alice's point is less than Bob's point, give Bob 1 point. If both are equal, nobody receives a point. Okay, so finally, by comparing, you would have awarded them points. Then what you must do is, come down, given A and B, determine their respective comparison points. See, for example, they are saying 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1. So for clarity, obviously Bob has got a higher value. So this A of 0 is lesser than B of 0, which means B should get a point. Bob should get a point. Then these are equal, nobody gets a point. This is greater, so obviously Alice gets a point. So Bob got 1 point here, Alice got 1 point here, no one got a point here, which means both of them have equal points. Now what you must do is, you must return another array. Array, list, doesn't matter. You must return a sequence of elements where in the first element you have Alice's points. In the second element you have Bob's point. So see, 1, 1. How are you able to come down? So function description is, basically it should accept 2 triplets, which means compare triplets is a function. First is a list of points of Alice, a list of points of Bob. Then it should return an array whose size is 2 or a list whose size is 2, where in the first position you have Alice's score, in the second position you have Bob's score. This is what you have to return. Any confusion till here? Did you understand the question? Put a yes in the chat if you understood the question. How many of you understood the question? Please put a yes. Good. Let's go visualize it and quickly write code for it as well. So, watch and understand. This is the question, friends. 5, 6, 7. This is 0, 1, 2. Let us call this as A. Alice's list this is. This is 3, 6, 10. This is the points got by Bob. This is Bob's list, 0th position, 1st position, 2nd position, and this is B. This is Alice's triplet, 3 values. This is Bob's triplet, 3 values. Now, this is the score for clarity, This is the score for originality. This is the score for what was the last category? Just check it. I forgot what was the last category. Difficulty. So the last category is difficulty. This is the score for difficulty. Any confusion? Now we have to basically run a loop. And once we run a loop, I will start from 0. I will start from 0. What we have to do is, we have to get the value present in A of 0. We have to get the value present in B of 0. And we have to compare both of them. If this value is greater than this value, give Alice a point. If it is lesser, give Bob a point. If they are equal, don't give point. Then move I forward. Then first value, second value, which is what I am also just showing. See, this is Alice's total points, this is Bob's total points. What I will do is, I will just, initially there will be 0. I will run a loop. Compare these values. Is A of I greater than B of I? Of course, this was an array, we would have written A of I, but since we will be using a list, we will tell A dot get of I, is it greater than B dot get of I? If it is greater, obviously Alice gets a point, and let's compare. 5 is greater than 3, obviously condition is true. If condition is true, award a point to Alice. Alice plus plus, its value will increase by 1. Any confusion? Then of course move the value of I. So see, I moves forward. Again compare both their values. 6 is greater than 6, condition is false because it's not greater, it is equal to. If it is false, no one gets a point. No one gets a point. Don't do anything. I will move forward. And next, obviously, then I have to check if A of I is less than B of I, because it's not greater, right? But is it lesser, I will check. If it is lesser, then obviously who should be getting a point is Bob, and in this case it's equal, so obviously Bob will not be getting a point. Obviously this condition is also going to be false, so nothing I will do. I will now move I forward and then again check if Alice's value is greater. Is Alice's value is greater? No. Check if Bob's value is greater by like this. Is Bob's value greater? Yes. Yes means true. True means increase Bob's point. Bob plus plus. Bob will get 1 point. After that, there are no more values left out, so we will stop, and ultimately these two values must be returned as an array or a array list. Anything is fine. Let's quickly go and write the code. Okay, so I'll bring up my editor. Let's remove all this code which we wrote for practice sake. Now here what I am going to do is I will just go and I will tell, first I want to create this list. So I will tell new. And I want to create an array list. Now see, one by one you can tell add. Okay, let's give it a reference. I'll call it as A. Let's type it. Now one by one you can tell A dot add 5, A dot add 6, A dot add 7. Now there is a shortcut. I will just go inside this. I will put brackets, square brackets, and within that I will tell 5, 6, 7. This is a shorter way to add it, guys. Any confusion till here? Yeah, great. Now similarly, I'll just duplicate that line. I will make that as 3, 6, 10. I'll just give it as B. So these are just shortcuts, okay, doesn't matter. Next, I'll come down. Now, what I will next be doing is, I have to obviously go and I will have to create the function. So that is what I'm going to do. I'll go on top and I'll create the function. I'll call it as static array list. Okay, list itself you can call it as, because what I'm returning is a list. And okay, let's do one thing. Let's go and directly write this code in HackerRank. Why should we write here, execute here? We'll go directly write it in HackerRank. Okay. So I hope you guys don't mind. So now let me just take you to HackerRank. There, let's go to the editor of HackerRank. Increase the size. Reduce the size a little bit. Even more. Now you can see this is the thing, public static list. Okay, forget about this integer and all, it doesn't matter. Compare triplets. What it accepts is two lists, one list A, one list B. Okay, HackerRank will pass it. What I'll come here and I will do is, list is already there for me. Now I need to iterate over the list. So all I will do is, I will tell for, first I will create two variables, int Alice, value is 0, int Bob, value is 0, value is 0. Next I will go and I will write a for loop. I will tell for, okay, int I equal to 0 and I will tell I less than equal to 3 because we know it is always going to less than 3, less than less than 3 because it's 0, 1, 2. I hope you're able to think. We know it is always going to be triplets, I plus plus I will tell. And next I will come inside and what I'm going to do is I will just do the comparison. So see, very simple. I will tell if in case, now I want to get the first value in the list of Alice which is A. So I will tell A dot get. Get what? Whatever is in the ith position. So if I is 0, 0, I. And I will check if this is equal to B, is it greater than B dot get of I. B dot get of I, great. If this is the case, who should get a point? Alice. So I'll tell Alice plus plus. Else, I'll check if in case, again, scroll it, yeah. Else if in case. If in case what? I'll copy the same condition, I'll paste it again. The only difference is that I'm checking if Alice's value is less than Bob. If it is less than, it means Bob has a greater value. Give him a point, Bob plus plus. That's all. At the end of this loop, when you come outside here, what would have happened is you will have Alice's points, Bob's point. This should be, scroll a little bit, this should be returned as a list. Array list, any list. Okay, so I'll come down. So see what I will do is very simple. I will tell new. I'll create an array list. I'll put those brackets. Within that, I will put those square brackets. And there, first value should be Alice, comma, second value should be Bob. I will give this a reference. I'll call this as maybe result. So res and res is enough. And obviously its type is going to be array list. Okay, how many of you understood this line? What did I do? I calculated Alice, I calculated Bob, then I created a new array list and in the first position I put Alice's score, in the second position I put Bob's score. How many of you understood? Put a yes in the chat. Did you understand? Put yes. Yes? Good, beautiful. See, now this array list that you created, don't keep it with view. Send it as output, return it as output. So see, I'll tell return. What to return? Res. What is res? An array list. So now scroll on top, read the function. Compare triplets is a function which accepts two lists as input, A and B. And after execution, scroll on top. After execution, returns a list as output, and that is what I am also showing here. Any confusion till here? Beautiful. Run the code. Okay, it's telling compilation error. where it is telling you have put Alice comma Bob. Okay, so illegal start of expression. Fine, go on top. Okay, so what you can do is square bracket. No, let us not write it this way. Remove it. You add it and just remove that Alice and Bob. Just tell res.add Alice, res.add Bob. So some compilation error it is giving. Doesn't matter. I'll just tell. I'll physically add. I'll add Alice and I will add Bob. That's it. So automatically this will be in 0th position, this will be in 1st position, or 1st and 2nd. Any confusion? Yeah. Now let's run it. Yeah, no, we're not able to see it. Okay, test 0 and passed. Okay, submit code. If I submit it, it is passing how many test cases? All it has passed? Congratulations. Okay, okay, fine, great. Awesome, guys. So this challenge is also done. It's very simple. Now you could have done it in a variety of ways. You could have done it using arrays, you could have done it using a linked list, you could have done it using an array list, but I'm just sticking to the most easy thing for you. Otherwise, I'll have to sit and explain the syntax, okay? And of course, by the end of the workshop, if there are few of you who want to learn full stack development every day from me, starting from HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, Java, Advanced Java, Spring, Hibernate, you want to learn SQL, you want to do projects, you want to solve almost 150 such programming questions from HackerRank, HackerRank, etc., then you can always consider joining our full stack web development batch, which will start probably the next week. But for those of you who are here just to build their logic, I hope this question is completely clear to everyone.